By using NEFT, they can transfer the amount easily through recipient's account by using IFSC code. The electronic clearing service ECS is a method of transferring fund electrically and is generally used for bulk transactions. This UPI system had introduced by NPCS, but currently it is completely undertaken by Reserve Bank of India. This payment and settlement system act as an infrastructure and it is going to benefit the bankers. Hello everybody, a warm welcome to one and all. I am Mr. Hemant Kumar from the Department of Commerce and Management, Vidhyaashram First Aid College, MYSURU, the Temple of Excellence. In today's session, we are going with the subject Banking Law and Practice, that is session 4 of Unit 4. It is about Reserve Bank of India for first semester BCom students. This is the agenda of today's session. We are going with the concept of the role of Reserve Bank of India as a regulator of payment and settlement system. Under this concept, we come to know what is payment system and what is settlement system, how actually this payment and settlement system is going to work in our economy. And also, we are going with the concept of products or types of payment and settlement system. There are various kind of payment and settlement system that is being followed, among which we had listed only 5 of them as per the syllabus of University of Mysore. System number 1, Electronic Clearing Service. Number 2, National Electronic Fund Transfer. Number 3, Real-Time Gross Settlement. Number 4, Immediate Payment Service. Number 5, United Payment Interface. These are the 5 topics we need to go through in today's session. The role of Reserve Bank of India as a regulator of payment and settlement system. Payment and settlement system means a financial infrastructure that carries out payment and settlement between banks and other institutions. So, this payment and settlement system is an infrastructure which is going to facilitate either with the individual or a group of individual, or either with the entity and either with the bank and bank. So, it is the way how the thing is going to happen. Since the banks are medium through which payments are made, means whatever the transaction that we make through NEFT, RTGS, IMS or UPI payment, right? So there must be a bank account. Say for an example, I want to send or transfer a money from my PhonePe account to somebody else's PhonePe account. There must be bank account which is linked to PhonePe or Google Pay, right? Whatever the payments that we make, that is through bank account. The payment and settlement system manage the interbank transactions. See, this payment and settlement system, it is going to manage the interbank transactions. The payment and settlement system is completely governed by Payment and Settlement Act 2007. So here, when it comes in terms of a payment, what exactly this payment and settlement system is about. So as I said, this payment and settlement system act as a infrastructure and it is going to benefit the bankers. Okay, so if we split both the concept, it is a payment and settlement system. What is this payment system and what is settlement system? When it comes in terms of a payment system, it is a payment that is going to happen between 2 parties or 2 persons. Okay, so it is going to happen between 2 persons, that is, it may be Mr. A to Mr. B, or it may be A company limited to B company limited. It may be persons or it may be a entity. Okay, that we call it as a payment system. And there is another possibility in terms of a payment system. The payment can happen between a person to a entity or an entity to a person. That we call it as a payment. Okay, the best example for the payment that is going to happen from one person to another person is Mr. A have a obligation of paying rupees 1000 to Mr. B. Okay, so Mr. A, he have an obligation of paying 1000 rupees to Mr. B. Okay, so when Mr. A pay a 1000 rupees of amount to Mr. B, it is a payment. Okay, again, there is a company limited. Mr. B is a employee of A company limited. It want to make a payment of salary of 10,000 rupees. Okay, so this A company limited pay a salary to Mr. B. It is a payment that is made by A company limited to Mr. B, that we call it as a payment system. But when it comes in terms of a settlement system, what happens? There are two parties. Okay, so in the payment system, which is going to happen, Mr. A transfer the fund to Mr. B, as I said, as I gave you example, Mr. A transfer fund to Mr. B. But the thing is, Mr. A have a account in State Bank of India, but Mr. B have an account in Bank of Baroda. Okay, so what he did, he transferred the amount from his account to Mr. B account. But the transfer had happened, but the payment had happened, but not the settlement. So when it comes in terms of a payment, it is of three types. It is going to happen between one person to another person, one entity to another entity, or one entity to another person. So it is going to happen in three ways when it comes in terms of payment. But in terms of settlement, it can only happen between two banks. Okay, so the settlement can only happen with two individual banks, that we call it as a settlement system. Say for an example, Mr. A transferred the amount to Mr. B, that is 1000 rupees. Okay, the payment had happened between two persons, but the settlement should be happen between two banks. Means from SBI bank account, the 1000 rupees must be transferred to Bank of Baroda account, means Mr. B account. So it is a settlement that is going to happen. In terms of entities, like A is a legal entity, B is also a legal entity. A company limited, B company limited. A company limited have an obligation to pay 10 crore rupees to B company limited. It had transferred the fund using NEFT, RTGS or IMPS. Okay, so it had transferred the amount to B company limited. The transaction that had happened, that we call it as a payment, he had paid the amount. A company limited paid an amount to B company limited. But when it comes in terms of settlement, it is going to happen between two accounts, that is State Bank of India to Bank of Baroda, like A company limited to B company, right? It is a way how the thing is going to happen. Repeatedly I am telling. Okay, so when it comes in terms of payment, it is going to happen between two parties. It may be an individual, it may be a company, or it may be a company and individual. Okay, so in three ways it is going to happen. But when it comes in terms of a settlement system, it can only happen between two parties. I will give you another one best example. Say for an example, I have an obligation to pay Mr. X 10,000 rupees. Okay, so I have an obligation of paying 10,000 rupees to Mr. X. Okay, so I paid him by check. Okay, I paid him by check. The payment had happened between me and Mr. X, but the transfer of amount must be happen from my bank account to his bank account, that we call it as a settlement. Payment had happened between two parties, but the settlement can happen only with one bank account to another bank account. I will give you another example. Mr. M is an employee under Infosys India Private Limited. Okay, so Infosys India Private Limited is going to pay a salary to Mr. M. Okay, so it is going to happen between an entity and a person. Okay, say for an example, Infosys India Private Limited have a bank account in State Bank of India. He do have a bank account in Bank of Baroda. It is going to transfer his amount to his account. Okay, product or types of payment and settlement system. There are various kinds of product of payment and settlement system, right? So the first one is electronic clearing services. Okay, so how exactly this electronic clearing service it is going to work? The name itself, it is going to say that the transaction of amount is going to happen in the electronic mode. Okay, the electronic clearing service, ECS, is a method of transferring fund electrically and is generally used for bulk transactions. Okay, so this ECS is used to transfer the bulk amount, not the small amount. This mode of payment is used to make repetitive payment or periodic payment. Okay, so repeatedly, if there is any commitment, this method can be used, or if there is any periodic payment, this method can be used. Say for an example, a company, it is going to pay a salary to its employees. It is periodic. Okay, so after every month it must pay the amount. It is the obligation of a company to pay salary every month, right? Every month it is going to make a payment of salary. This kind of fund transfer is usually used by large organization. So as I said, whatever the transaction that is going to happen, it is bulk. Okay, not the small transaction it is going to happen, it is bulk transaction. Or the institutions like bulky transaction, it may be salary, fees, pensions, interest, dividends, loan, installments. Okay, so these are all the payments that is going to happen in the ECS. Okay, means there is a commitment of a company to pay a salary to the employees, that is through ECS. Okay, say for an example, I purchased a car by making down payment. Okay, the remaining amount I must pay in EMI. Okay, so to make a payment through EMI, I can use this ECS. Electronic clearing service is also used for paying bills. So if I have a routine commitment of payment of any kind of electricity bill or EMI or it may be water bill, okay, so I can go with this. This electronic clearing service had introduced in the year 1996. And when it comes in terms of ECS, this electronic clearing service is classified into two categories. Number one, electronic clearing service credit, electronic clearing service debit. Okay, so what is this electronic clearing service credit? Mr. A working in Amazon India Private Limited. Okay, so it is the obligation of Amazon India Private Limited to make a regular payment of a salary every month. Okay, so it must pay the salary to Mr. A, that we call it as a electronic clearing service credit. Okay, it is going to credit the salary to the account of Mr. A, that we call it as a electronic clearing service credit. Electronic clearing service debit. Okay, say for an example, Mr. A purchased a car on loan basis. Okay, so he have to pay monthly EMI. The amount will be automatically debited from his account. Right, the amount will be automatically debited on his account on the agreed proportion and ratio. Okay, so that we call it as a electronic clearance service debit. If the amount is debited from the individual account, that is ECS debit. If the amount is credited to the individual account, that is ECS credit. National Electronic Fund Transfer, NEFT. Okay, so there is a possibility of asking this question for 5 or 10 marks. Please note down this point. It's one of the safe and secured method of transaction established in 2005. Okay, so earlier, after the establishment of ECS, they had introduced this concept, that is NEFT, National Electronic Fund Transfer. They had established in 2005. But when it comes in terms of NEFT, there is no minimum and maximum limit that must be transferred through NEFT. Okay, in NEFT we can transfer minimum of 1 rupee and up to 100 crore, 150 crore, 200 crore, right? So there is no transaction limit. So if there is a limit, that will be fixed by the bankers based on their capacities and capabilities. By using NEFT, they can transfer the amount easily through recipient's account by using IFSC code. So this IFSC code is mandatory to transfer the amount from one account to another account. There is a special feature for NEFT, that is the one who doesn't have a bank account can also transfer the amount worth of 50,000 rupees. You cannot transfer more than 50,000 rupees, the one who doesn't have bank account. The one who have a bank account, he can make unlimited transaction and also he can pay. There is no limit for the payment. Before December 2019, whatever the transaction that is going to happen through NEFT, the bankers were charging the fixed percentage of amount for the transaction that is going to happen. But after January 2020, they had removed the system of charging extra charges for the NEFT payment to increase the transaction. Okay, so before 2020, they were charging the charges, fixed percentage of charges for the transaction amount. Okay, after 2020 January, they had removed the charges that had been made by bankers to the various account. And before 2020 January, this NEFT was working only 6 days a week, that is banking hours. Okay, so 6 days a week, and that is too in banking hours. After 2020 January, they had increased the duration of a service of NEFT. The Reserve Bank of India had increased the service duration of NEFT, that is 24/7. So here today we can transfer the amount. So we can transfer the amount how much ever we want. Okay, so by using NEFT, that is 24/7, in the cell phone itself we can make a NEFT payment. And to make a transaction, NEFT requires 2 hours. Okay, so it takes 2 hours to make any kind of transaction. The next concept is RTGS. This RTGS was established in 2004. So the difference between RTGS and NEFT is it is a mode of payment which is going to happen. There is no minimum limit and there is no maximum limit. But when it comes in terms of RTGS, there is a limit of 2 lakh rupees. Okay, minimum payment must be 2 lakh rupees. But when it comes in terms of a NEFT, they can make a small payment and a large number of payment in terms of NEFT. But when it comes in terms of RTGS, it is meant only to make a large number of payment. There is no maximum limit for RTGS. If there is a limit also, that will be fixed by the respective banker based on his capacity. RTGS is an updated version of NEFT, which is used to make large amount of bank transaction. So as I said, so they can make a large amount of bank transaction. That is, the minimum limit is 2 lakh rupees. There is no maximum limit. The minimum limit of 2 lakh rupees, there is no maximum limit to the transaction, but the limit of the transactions are fixed by bankers based on their standards. Okay, based on the standards of a bank, based on the capacity of a bank, that they are going to fix the standard. The transaction happens by 30 minutes. But when it comes in terms of a NEFT, it take 2 hours of time to make a single transaction. But when it comes in terms of a RTGS, it take only 30 minutes to make any kind of payment. The default of RTGS is the minimum transaction limit is 2 lakh rupees. But when it comes in terms of NEFT, there is no minimum limit of transaction, right? So the payment mode of NEFT is better than RTGS. Immediate payment service, IMS. Okay, so what is this immediate payment service? It is an electronic fund transfer system in India that operate 24/7. So as I said, NEFT, it is going to operate 24/7, and RTGS, it is also going to operate 24/7, and also this IMS is going to operate 24/7. It is going to render its services 24/7. IMS can be used to transfer the money from friends to their family, transfer funds to a bank account, and making payment to merchants. And IMS is completely owned and controlled by National Payment Corporation of India. And you can access it using mobile phone, applications, internet banking, right? So whatever the transaction that you are going to do by IMS, so you can access this kind of a service that is offered by banker for the benefit of customer. The last one, the IMS system was developed in the year 2010, which is controlled by National Payment Corporation of India. The maximum transaction amount that must be made from IMS is 5 lakh rupees. So as I said, RTGS, there is no maximum limit. NEFT, there is no maximum limit. But when it comes in terms of IMS, there is a 5 lakh rupees is a maximum limit of payment. When it comes in terms of a minimum limit, there is no minimum limit. They can transfer minimum of 1 rupee and maximum of 5 lakh rupees in IMS. There are two kinds of transaction that is going to happen through IMS. Number one, person to person, one person to another person, one person to bank account. So when a person want to transfer the amount from one person to another person by using mobile number, when a person want to transfer the amount to another bank account by using IFSC code through net banking. Okay, so there are a number of applications. If we install that application, we can access this kind of services. Next concept is UPI, Unified Payment Interface. So we people are already aware of this Unified Payment Interface after the invention of PhonePe and Google Pay applications like online payment applications. Right? The full form of UPI is Unified Payment interface. So as we know, it is a unified payment interface. This UPI is a instant real-time payment system. So instantly it is going to make a payment within few seconds. Say for an example, I am going to make a payment through PhonePe or Google Pay. Within a fraction of second, the payment and settlement is going to happen. To transfer the amount between two bank accounts through mobile application. Okay, so whatever the payment that is going to happen from one account to another account, one person to another person, through the application, the settlement is going to happen between two bank accounts. As I said, India's National Payment Corporation established the idea under the supervision of Reserve Bank of India, that is Indian Bank Association. The transaction that is going to happen through this system is quick, rapid, within few seconds. So as we know, whatever the payment, online payment that we going to do, okay, so it is a phone pay, whether it is a Google Pay, okay, it is a fraction of second we can make a payment. So what is the minimum payment amount that we can transfer by using UPI, Unified Payment System? Okay, so that is ₹1 is a minimum amount that we can transfer. What is the maximum limit? We can transfer up to 1 lakh rupees by using UPI. This UPI system had introduced by NPCS, but currently it is completely undertaken by Reserve Bank of India. This system is used to make the digital financial transactions. So whatever the transaction that we make through online by using UPI, that is digital transactions, and the maximum limit, that is as per the RBI regulation, that is 1 lakh rupees. Through UPI, we cannot transfer more than 1 lakh rupees at a time. The next session, we are going with Unit 5, that is digital banking. Thank you.